Insecure deserialization. This vulnerability is very big in the modern world because we have so much more user contributed content in websites, and we have so much more integration between different systems, whether it's for machine learning, big data, data science, or it's really just about being able to provide a platform for users to see their own contributions run or be used in some generated content. And the reason that this comes up is because we'll take something like some input perhaps from another system or a user, and then we'll store that, and there might be something malicious there. And we either don't sanitize the input, so the malicious code stays inside the input when it's stored in a serialized format, like suppose JSON or YAML or some other encoding of characters that might be non-standard. And then the other part of it is, of course, when that is taken back out from being at rest, there might be just some wholesale evaluation of that serialized data. So essentially something came in as malicious, and then when we bring it back and we try to deserialize it, the way that we do it, the way that we turn it back into code or some other dynamic content, is we just take the whole thing and evaluate it as code, kind of sight unseen, just trusting it to do the right thing. And as with injections, command injections, doing this can result in some very unexpected behavior because we're actually now running code that we didn't know would be running. And especially in the case of some of the dynamic languages and frameworks out there, if the code that was inside the unsafe input knows how to modify the kernel or the runtime of the language or framework that you're using, then it could really cause some unexpected side effects and could be a huge vulnerability. This is something that actually happened not that long ago, a few years ago in the Rails world, with YAML being the source of the unsafe deserialization. And we'll talk about how that works when we look at the code examples. And this is something that is especially dangerous in dynamic runtimes, but it can really happen anywhere depending on how well the attacker knows the runtime that they're targeting and how much information they have, what kind of reconnaissance they did, or whether they were just really lucky to run into a system that they know how to target. And that's really where serialization and deserialization, it seems like such run-of-the-mill activities. You take some input, you store it, and then you try to bring it back and run it. Like suppose, there's some procedures or some logic that the user wants to keep as a filter or something like that, some kind of, dynamic behavior that we let the users control. Depending on how we design our systems, depending on what we let the user input, it can really have a pretty huge effect on our actual applications.